to our interesting show, which promises to share stories of many inspiring speakers on board. I am Shavinder Kaur, and I'm the brand ambassador of this platform, Efauji Talks, which is an IESECCI initiative, and I am here to showcase the talent of our speakers through this power-packed global talk show series. She is the founder of Your Success Story, also an amateur astrologer, home baker, wellness enthusiast, tea lover, and a learner for life. Please welcome our guest, Mrs. Neha Pant Tewari.
Thank you so much, Shivender. Thank you so much for the lovely welcome. Pleasure being here.
So before we move to the question segment, let me brief our viewers about our guest achievements. With over a decade of corporate experience, Neha is a corporate warrior turned youth mentor and happiness coach. She is an internationally certified NLP practitioner, happiness coach, certified by the Barclay Wellbeing Institute, UC Barclay. She works in areas of personal development, emotional intelligence, positive psychology. Neha's corporate strengths include working with EY and ICICI Bank. Proud of her military heritage, she is a world's traveler. She loves traveling and is happy relating to varied cultures and geographies. Armed with MBA from the SIMS Pune and ICFAI Hyderabad currently. So I am in conversation with Mrs. Neha. So how are you, Mrs. Neha? How are you?
I'm very good, Shivender. Thank you so much for asking. Been absolutely lovely being here.
Yeah, great. So let's start our conversation. What was your motivation to start your success story?
Sure. So, Shivender, I have actually been in the space of positive psychology and personal development for a while now. And what I realized was that people understand the importance of creating positive changes in their lives, but not many of them are able to make these changes happen. And the reason for that is fairly simple, because these are the changes which are not very easy to manifest. They require beyond energy, time, and effort to make these changes happen. It requires a tweaking or a change in the mindset, which requires expertise, which requires practice. Okay. So while there is awareness, while there is willingness, the ability is missing. And that is where I step in to plug in the action knowledge gap. Now, the ability could be missing for n number of reasons. It could be missing because people don't know what they want in their life. It could possibly be missing because um, they don't know how badly it is what they want in life. How much of life are they willing to exchange in order to get what they want? Most importantly, usually it is because they do not believe in the superpowers which they have within themselves to make those changes happen. So that conviction which is required to take that leap of faith is missing. I started Your Success Story with a vision to reintroduce people to their own genius, with a vision to reconnect people to their own authentic selves so they could make these changes happen and they could author their own self-written success stories. That really was the whole idea.
That's so wonderful to hear. Absolutely, you're adding that value, you're giving back to the society by, sharing the wisdom and making people aware about their capabilities. That's one thing, knowing yourself. सबके अंदर बहुत powers हैं, but at times somebody else has to come and, you know, find it out for you. So you are doing a wonderful job for that matter. So,
Brilliantly good, brilliantly good.
yeah. So why is happiness so difficult to achieve? At times we're saying, "Arey, मैं खुश नहीं हूँ. I'm not happy." So why it's that difficult to achieve?
So, that's a great question, really, and that's a perpetual question. Happiness remains a universal pursuit and a constant chase, a universal goal and a constant pursuit. And the reason for that is simply because happiness is a state of mind. It is a self-generated state of mind which is always there within us, right? And yet we are looking outside to get an insight into it. So while it is always present within us as a state of mind, is it as accessible as it is present? Not really. And the reason for that is the clutter in our mind. See, 50 to 80% of the time, our mind is filled with negativity. It is filled with negative memories, it is filled with negative self talks, it is filled with negative feelings and emotions. It is also filled with negative memories in general, past, present, and future. So, getting past all that negativity and finally attaining that state of mind which we call happy is actually a challenge for all of us. So, until you sort things in your head, until you work on your mindset, happiness for most of us tends to remain a challenge in our life. Other than that, happiness is elusive by nature. It is a fleeting reality. It keeps moving with time, right? So as we grow in our life, the finish line of happiness keeps moving along us. For instance, Shavinder, you might think that I will be happy when I attain so and so, or when I become so and so. And as you attain XYZ in your life, your mind is already calibrating the next happiness goal. And that is the reason why attaining sustainable happiness remains a challenge for us all. So the other
Yeah,
reason, of course, is
exactly. That is the Maslow's law of hierarchy. That self actualization जब तक नहीं आएगा, we'll continue searching for the happiness, and very truly
absolutely.
explain that पहले we have to find the happiness within us. Then only we can think of for it. So why has happiness become a buzzword of late? We are just talking about this word happiness.
How true, that is my observation just as well. I mean, of late, अगर आप conversations को देखोगे, the conversations are either centered around Corona or they are centered around happiness, positivity, and mindfulness. There are very few or no in-betweens, as a matter of fact, as you rightly pointed it out. So I think one valid reason could be the pandemic, the fact that we are surrounded by doom and gloom and we are all looking out to kind of gravitate towards something other than the doom and gloom. That could be the natural reason for that. But other than that, uh, researchers over the last 20 years have noted, has observed that people who are happier tend to be healthier. They tend to have better developed immune systems. They tend to fall sick less as compared to people who are unhappy. Now, social relationships and happiness are very strong predictors of longevity. Usually, it is observed that people who are happy tend to live longer and they tend to live lives that are much more fulfilled than people who are unhappy. That is one. When it comes to social relationships, people who are happy tend to be better at social relationships, be it personal, be it professional, be it social relationships. What that means is that people who are happy can network better, then collaborate, can relate and correlate. And they can basically leverage on their social skills. And you know for a fact that in a business world or in a corporate world, networking and collaboration are backbones of success. So people who are happy tend to be more successful because their social skills are better off than others. Okay. Now, when it comes to productivity, people who are happy tend to be more productive. If I have to give you figures, it is almost 20 to 50% more productive. They tend to get more done in less time. What that means for the organizations is better margins of profit, better volumes, higher growth curve, right? So that is probably the reason why companies of late have started investing a lot in happiness and mindfulness programs. And no doubt about that. People who are happy tend to make better citizens of the world. They're an asset to the organization. They're also an asset to the society, which they are a part of. I think that probably is a reason why we should all learn about happiness and inculcate happiness in our lives, really. And
So
that's
true.
the reason why it's a
So true.
buzzword.
Yes, and in fact, it. You always, when you're happy, you will transmit that energy.
Absolutely. It has a
Yeah.
ripple effect, right?
Yes,
Absolutely.
and when you're happy, you will see happiness around. When
My
you're
God.
sad, you will feel sad. So,
Very true.
thank you so much, Neha, and very nicely that you have explained to us that why this word, why this is so important. While I was talking to you, it reminded me of that MasterCard ad. Can money buy happiness?
Oh, wow. Love that simile, actually. That's a great question. That is such a great question, really. Can money buy happiness? What do you think? Do you think money can buy happiness?
Well, momentarily, yes. Materialistic happiness, I can say. At times I feel it's good to cry in a Mercedes than to be, otherwise. Yeah, but that's very
Brilliant.
superficial.
Yeah, brilliantly put. Brilliantly put. You're actually bang on, as a matter of fact. So, what happens when you go to a mall and when you're able to spend money on maybe fine dining or maybe some stuff that you want to buy for yourself and for your family, or perhaps you want to buy yourself a vacation you've always longed to. You feel happy, you feel elated. My question to you is, for how long can you sustain that happiness? Now, in case of a meal, it is still the next meal. In case of a dress or a materialistic pleasure, it is for a day or two or till the event. Thereafter, it dies off, right? In case of a vacation, since it is an engagement or an experience, you tend to live it till the vacation stays. And then thereafter, the happiness kind of falls flat, right? So, happiness, so the answer to your question is both yes and no. Happiness can certainly buy you short-term happiness, as you rightly put it. Happiness can buy you security, it can buy you comfort, which may or may not lead you to a short-term happiness. Happiness can definitely help you create what is called as a pleasant life, which is a base level of happiness. But when it comes to the long-term happiness, uh, things, external influences like money, power, fame, looks, education, all these things contribute only to 10% of the happiness. What about the rest 90%? It purely depends on how your brain processes your external reality. It completely depends upon the kind of inner communication which you have with yourself, the kind of filters you use to view the world. And that probably is the reason why people tend to think that happiness is an inside job. Since it is already there, you need to work at it inside out rather than outwards in, you know. So money can definitely buy you short-term happiness. It can definitely, you know, buy you comfort and pleasure-based life. But for a long term, the contribution is less.
Yes, yes. So that's like we can say it's a superficial happiness or a shallow. We all are dying to go for a vacation, but of course, वो जब तक वो photos Facebook पे अच्छे से stock हो जाती हैं, then we say, oh God, I need to have another vacation.
My
So
God, yeah.
yeah, so true, so true. Maybe that's a momentarily you feel that kind of happiness. It's a long term, short term. So
I will
great.
tell you something, if I may just interrupt you for a
Yeah.
moment. Happiness के तीन levels होते हैं, पता है? पहला level होता है pleasure-based happiness, the one we just spoke about, which has a lot of sensory inputs and it makes you feel happy. The second level is engagement-based happiness. We call it good life. So when you're in a flow, when you're enjoying what you do, it is some kind of an experience. The happiness will stay on for more than momentarily. And then there is a purposeful life, a meaningful life. When you're able to live your purpose, that is when you will be able to long-term happiness, जिसको हम बोलते हैं, that is when it will be achieved. That sustainable happiness is achieved only when you're living a purposeful life. So that is how it
Exactly.
goes.
Exactly. I mean, you explained it very step by step, and that's what we always tend to maybe avoid because we are in our comfort zone and we don't want to be out of that. So in this, during these uncertainties and pandemic, where there's only negativity all around. So how can one be positive?
That's a great question. I think it's a very relevant question, especially given the kind of pandemic situation that we are in. So that's a bang on question, really. But here is what my honest take on it, to be very honest with you, is you don't have to push yourself to being positive if you're not feeling positive, especially given the overwhelming negativity which is around us, right? And instead of focusing on growing your positivity, which is so scarce, might as well work on your negativity and tone it down. Because when you work on, or rather overwork on growing your negativity or being positive despite the fact that you feel incapacitated to be positive, you will end up growing within you what is called as toxic positivity, right? That will not be good for you. That will not be good for people around you. All right. So instead of working on your negative, instead of working on being positive all the time, being happy all the time, I would not ask you to be positive all the time. I would rather ask you to be not negative all the time. Okay. There's a slight difference between the two. Now, when we talk about being positive, we are referring to inviting positive influences in our life, right? But when we talk about not being negative, we are actually referring to not just pushing negativity away from our life, but also creating certain checks and balances to filter the incoming negativity in our life. Because, these are the times when we need to be very, very mindful, very critical of content that we are consuming in terms of the company we are keeping, also the kind of environment that we are living in, right? We need to pay a whole lot of attention to this in terms of what we are watching, in terms of what we are reading, in terms of what we are listening to, in terms of the kind of conversations we are, becoming a part of. Because what you absorb is what you will give out and you will attract more of, right? So, therefore, these are the times to actually not focus so much on being positive, but simply focus on toning down your negativity. And that will automatically tilt the situation, right? And you will be able to grow optimism side by side and step by step. That is how I really look at it.
Indeed, indeed, because at times obsession of anything can lead to negativity. What I feel personally. So
Very
that's
well put.
when, that's when you have to lower your negativity quotient and raise your positivity.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. I'm really delighted to share such kind of conversation with you. Miss Neha, and at times, do you think there is any correlation? Again, I want to come back to the money part,
Sure.
between the money and the happiness.
Correlation between money and happiness, like we mentioned, so long, see, money can buy you comfort, money can buy you security. That may or may not lead you to happiness. I'll tell you how it works really. So, happiness ka kaisa hai? Out of 100% of happiness, only 10% of happiness depends upon the external circumstances. We discussed those external circumstances, right?
Yes.
Out of this is 10%. Now, out of 100%, out of the rest 90% of the happiness, 50% is determined genetically. Okay. It doesn't just run in your family, but it is determined genetically. You may be a carrier of a miserable or a depressive genes. Bacha khucha kitna? 40%. Okay. Now, this 40% of happiness can be worked around. It can be kind of manipulated. It can be kind of, dealt with to make your life either less miserable or more happy, as the case may be. So, so far as money is concerned, मैं आपको figure बताती हूँ. In the US, the figure is $70,000. Beyond $70,000, money has no role to play so far as happiness is concerned. You must have heard about rich people, wealthy people who are miserable, who commit suicide, right? So it all ends up in our minds. It all ends up in our relationship. It all ends up in the quality of our daily engagement, the meaning that we provide to the life and the meaning that we provide to the task in general. So money is very important when it comes to fulfilling your self-worth needs, when it comes to fulfilling your security and comfort needs. But beyond that, not really.
Yeah, beyond that, it is obsession. That's what I feel, And then you're just there, and it's a never-ending story.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Neha. We have almost come to the end of the segment of the question conversation. So, I want to know what has been your greatest learning for you in your journey so far.
Greatest learning for me in my journey from being who I was to being who I am, I think the first thing that comes to my mind is definitely the realization and importance of human health. You know, um, until you are mentally and physically fit, you cannot move forward. You cannot move beyond a certain point. So, realization of human health, number one. Second would be the importance of human relationships, because ultimately, your the quality of your life depends purely on the quality of your relationships. If you want a better life, simply start working on your relationships. Start investing in your relationships. Thirdly, I think it would be the fact that happiness is hackable. Even if you're not born with happy genes, you still have a chance at happiness, at least a major chunk of happiness. So I think that's a huge hope for me and a lot of other people. So I think these are the three things that I can think of right now. And yeah, another very important thing, be careful about your environment. You know, you are a product of your environment ultimately. So be very vigilant in your mind and in your physical spaces of what is surrounding you and how it is affecting you on a day-to-day basis. That is especially important even in the pandemic.
So true, so true. I actually wanted to ask that only, my last question, that what is that would you would like to share as three tips for our viewers, a takeaway from the session? How can we add value to our life in the present scenario?
Great question. Great question. You know, present times is when people are actually down, feeling isolated, and a whole lot of things. That's a great add-on actually. So I will suggest you ask yourself these 5 questions every day, okay? And try committing to the task to the extent possible. I'm not going to push you to do that, but if you do it, the results will be phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
The first question is, what did I do today to strengthen myself physically and mentally? Question number two, what did I do today to uplift my spirits? Question number three, what did I do today to uplift spirits of others around me? Question number four, what is it that is new that I learned today? What is my value add for the day? And last but not the least, what is it that I'm grateful for today? Or what is it that I'm most grateful for today? You know? So these are 5 questions. If you answer them every day in your journal, and if you're able to commit to these tasks, I guarantee you within 21 days, you will see a shift in your mindset and your life. You will, you will move on from being from being less negative to being more optimistic. That is one. You will also grow in your inner peace. You will grow in your resilience and you will expand your happiness. So these are things that I'm sure your viewers will find useful.
Thank you so much, Neha. It's wonderful interacting with you. And believe you me, today I'm going to be very happy. Ask me why. There are so many, ambiguities, ifs and buts, and you have given the mantra today that how to stay happy in any kind of situation. I feel it's just a taming of your mind, how
Absolutely.
how how you allow your mind to work on your weaker self and keeping away the emotional issues. So thank you once again, and I'm grateful to you for sparing that valuable time of yours.
Thank you so much, Shivender. It has been an absolute pleasure being here with you. Thank you so much for the invite and absolutely delighted and honored to be a part of this.
So who you are tomorrow begins with what you do today. Truly inspiring. That was Mrs. Neha Pant Tewari for us, and I wish you all the very best for spreading that happiness around and for everybody. So if you wish to share your inspiring stories, please contact me at shavi@efaujitalks.com. And I thank all our viewers to please like, share, and subscribe our channel Efauji Talks. And don't forget to put your comments in the section for the present interview. For more interesting stories, please stay tuned. Stay home, stay safe. Jai Hind. Thank you.
Efauji Talks is brought to you by IESECCI, Indian Ex-Defence Service Employees Chamber of Commerce and Industries. Thanks to its vast veteran network and global and pan-India associates, IESECCI can carry out various commerce facilitations and CSR projects across India and the world. Some of IESECCI's core capability areas are Skill India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, Digital India, any ex-serviceman welfare or job program, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan related projects, telemedicine and healthcare training and job scheme, Save Water scheme, defense industry SME, MSME cluster and hub development, maritime training and inland water training with job facilitation, Canada study, job and permanent residency opportunity, e-commerce, Andaman and Nicobar commerce opportunities. IESECCI's global reach includes countries like Indonesia, Slovakia, Canada, Nepal, Singapore, Rwanda, USA, UK. Above all, it is IESECCI's effort to create a veterans brand made by the veterans, for the veterans and made up of the veterans. Every Indian's support is invaluable in this journey. IESECCI is a registered society for ex-servicemen's welfare and envisions that every veteran should be a part of India's economic growth story. It is the aim of IESECCI to create an enabling commerce platform that will empower and synergize the veterans' talent pool. This is possible only with the support of entrepreneurs, businesses and consultants from civil society. All proceeds, if any, are utilized for the welfare of ex-servicemen and for public charity.